And he will be talking to us about unlocking value through AI adoption. So the focus is on AI, okay, because that's sort of what we have to wrestle with in business at the moment. Imtiaz has got 29 years experience in the ICT sector across telecoms and banking domains. He's written a fascinating book called Throw Away the Box, where he focuses on advanced technologies to be leveraged to grow societies and organizations. I haven't read it yet. I've just read some phrases on it. It sounds very interesting. He's also won the Africa Technology Excellence Awards in 2024. He's currently the head of business enablement and CEO at Absa Life, my old alma mater. But the fact, I've said to him this morning, the fact that they appointed somebody of this caliber gives me confidence that the mindset has changed at Absa Life from the time when I was there. That would never have happened. He's got a master's degree in engineering and PhD obtained from WITS, a professional doctorate in artificial intelligence from the European International University, and is a certified chief digital officer. He also serves on a voluntary basis on some advisory board of the engineering faculty at the University of Witwatersrand, having an engineering background. AI insurance myths, a reality check, and pathway forward. So thank you very much for making yourself available, and we really look forward to what you're going to do.
The future is now. What is it? It's a play of words. It's what the marketers like to tell us so that we can sell things to you. It's what Nedbank and Capitec have been telling us on the TV if you've seen. The banking of future is now. Any Nedbank or Capitec people there? So I don't cause any problems. No? Okay. But, all right, I love it. Let's go. First, nothing. It says, if you don't do what I tell you to do now, you can kiss your feet goodbye. And that's what I want to introduce you today. Right? Is if we don't do what we need to do as organizations today, we can kiss the future goodbye. But before we delve into the talk that I'm going to go through, I just want to show you a little bit. Hopefully it works because some of it I've learned myself, right? So if it doesn't work, it's not my skills. It's the hardware skills. So let's try this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Dr. Imtiaz Abdul-Qadir. The man, the legend, a visionary who traversed the world, influencing transformation and adoption of technologies. He walks with purpose, and unlike Chuck Norris, he can fix a plane mid-flight. He is here to demystify the future for you.
Right? It will cost me 150,000 rand to produce. Right? If I hired one of the marketing companies to actually produce it for me. Anybody wants to take a guess how much I deliver myself? Just 20K. 150,000 to 20K. So if you embrace technology, you can get the value. But the message is that you have to embrace the technologies. You've got to be willing to open yourself up, open your mindset to something different, and you have to be able to unlearn everything you had thought before in order for you to learn new things, new skills to generate the value. So let's get into the presentation. As you know, my name is Imtiaz, and today we're talking about unlocking value through AI adoption. Now, before we go into what does it mean for financial services, maybe let's just set some context. Right? The world is changing. And the world is changing at an extremely rapid pace. Today we're faced with this content. In a world where everything is smart, you will not be rewarded for single lane brilliance. What do I mean by that? Yesterday, somebody told me I need to be fast, or I need to be effective, or I need to be efficient, or I need to be product-centric, or customer-centric, or something or the other-centric. But guess what? In today's world, forget all about that. You need to be everything. So the world is not going to reward you if you as an organization think that I'm a customer-centric organization. No, you don't need to be a customer-centric organization. You need to be an everything organization. Because customers out there don't care whether you're customer-centric, whether you're product-centric, whether you're this-centric, or whether you're fast, whether you're first. Nobody cares about that. What they will reward you is integrated intelligence. We live in a world where technologies actually give you cinema experiences where you sit today in your lounge. We live in a world where data is available on your hand for free. Who pays for SMS data bundles? Anyone pay for SMS data bundles? I did at one point, once upon a time. Now, so I'm not giving away my age, but we did pay for SMS data bundles. Today we don't. We don't pay for SMS data bundles. The reason is that technology is democratized. Technology is moving us into a space where, if you're willing to embrace it, services become almost free. And that's a mindset shift that everyone in this room needs to have, because financial services is service, nonetheless. Right? I don't say insurance, but insurance today might not be insurance tomorrow. Another thing is that our mindset is, as I showed you, there's an intersect between hardware, there's an intersect between software, there's an intersection between skills. You bring all those intersections together and you can actually create some value. Right? Another misconception that we all have, all of us love to ask our customers, which product do you want? And then they tell you what you want, and then you put it out there, guess what? It's not what they want. So what do? Come up with the next product, and the next product, and you invest in something else, and invest in something else. Henry Ford did it very nicely. He says, if I were to ask the people out there, what do you want? They would have said faster horses, right? Because they didn't know that a vehicle could exist. But it exists today, right? So what I want to draw your attention to is the fact that you shouldn't be limiting yourself with today's constraints. As soon as you limit yourself with today's constraints, you close your mind to what's possible and what's the art of possible. Right? I mean, if you look at this, at that, run for me. There you go. If you look at this, anybody know what this? Does it exist today? Anybody will take a guess, does it exist today? Yes, it does. Kawasaki Polio. It's actually going into production. Who knew that instead of driving a car, I need to ride a horse? And I can ride this horse on mountains, I can ride this horse in the city, I can ride this horse anywhere. It exists today. Did I want it? No. Did I know I want it? No. But do I want it now? Yes. It's cool. Who doesn't want it? If you don't want it, then maybe you live in a different time. Misconception. And apologies to my Microsoft translation. There we go. AI is not Copilot. Surprise. AI is not Copilot. AI is not ChatGPT. AI is what you see there. It's a myriad number of technology. It's a myriad number of advancement. It's not just what you see today. AI came about in the 1950s. Alan Turing, in the Turing test. Eliza, if anybody has heard of that. The first chatbot to ever exist was in the 1950s. But it was so archaic, people didn't actually want to use it because it didn't make sense at that point in time. But it existed. And then advancements of technology actually came about. Right? Another misconception is that I ask people, do you know AI? Or people ask me, do you know AI? Yes, I know AI. What do you know about AI? Have you seen this picture I created with AI? Have you seen this picture I created with AI? Guess what? You don't know AI. That's a whole lot of work. What you know is the tools that are enabled by AI that create value so that you can use those tools to create value that before you couldn't use. Huh? AI at its core, if you truly understand it, then generative AI becomes just one little part in the entire value spectrum from an organization consumption perspective. So if you're thinking that you're going to adopt generative AI and it's going to give you all the value that you want, think again. You're not going to get it. What you need to embrace is full spectrum. You need to look at the full spectrum. Don't just look at generative AI because there's a hype around it. There's a lot of consultants having the hype around generative AI and what it can actually achieve. But don't be fooled by that. So what does all of this mean from a financial services perspective? Your customers are changing. They're used to Google. They're used to Amazon. They're adopting these tools faster than your organization can adopt it. So guess what happens? The expectation changes. Right? You know, when you phone a call center, sometimes you get this thing that says, we are currently busy. Please wait for the next available agent. You are number 100 in the queue. That can frustrate the hell out of me. I don't know if it frustrates you, but it does frustrate the hell out of me. I don't want to be number 100 in the queue. Guess what? The latest conversational AI technology that exists today throws away things like abandonment rate because it answers you immediately. It's able to service you immediately. Yes, you still got a long way to go for complex queries and complex services. But I'm telling you, give it a couple of years and we're going to get there. Huh? So adoption is key from an organization perspective if you want to meet the customer expectation. Leave the customer expectation. Your colleagues, your employees, productivity. Do you know how much of productivity you can get just by adopting a simple thing as Copilot? Do I do PowerPoint presentations? No. Was this done by me? No. This was done by AI, guys. The entire presentation. Gave it a few documents, gave it a few inputs, told it what I needed, and boom. There you go. The videos, the images, everything created by AI. All custom content at your fingertips if you're just willing to open up your mind. Remember, 150,000, I could have paid yesterday, but it cost me 20K. That's a massive difference in terms of value generation. So, you have the luxury of saying, do I need to adopt? No, you don't. You don't have the luxury of whether you need to adopt. You need to adopt. And I'm speaking to probably most of the converted. We've got CIOs, we've got CEOs, we've got tech gurus, we've got digital gurus. So you know adoption is. But what does that mean from an adoption perspective? There are many frameworks. Don't be confused by the framework. Understand your strategy. Your strategy is going to determine where you actually go, which framework you actually use, and who you're going to partner with in order to adopt this technology. Make no mistake, we are no experts. Neither am I. This technology changes at a pace that nobody can anticipate. So if you think you're an expert today, you're not an expert tomorrow, because there's something new that came out. So you need to think about the strategy that you want to adopt from an organization. Another thing is around skills. The skills landscape. When I sit in the universities and I tell the students, they say, yeah, but 1 + 1 will always equal to 2.
The question is, does it? Does 1 plus 1 always equal to 2? No, it doesn't. Why? In the world where we're moving to, binary, quantum computing, guess what? 1 plus 1 does not always equal to 2. Because the way the computers see 1 plus 1 is very different to the way we see 1 plus 1. I remember when I first did robotics and AI, way back in the 1980s, and that's why I tell the story about the 1 plus 1, is there was a question in the exam that says, create a program that answers the question for 1 plus 1. So we were all like, 1 plus 1, create a program. It's like writing hello world, right? For those of you who did hello world when you were studying, right? But we all got it wrong. You know why? Because of a simple concept. Context matters. Your context matters. In the world of octal, 1 plus 1 is not equal to 2. 1 plus 1 is equal to 1 next to another one. In the world of octal. So we all got it wrong because we didn't ask for context. Prompt engineering. If you get prompt engineering right, if you give it the right context, the right flow, the right outcomes, whatever it is you're looking for, then you get the right answer. Many people get frustrated when they use AI. It's not because of the tool. It's because your prompt is. So context matters. Why context also matters? Don't read the hype around. Did you read a book called Google Transformed? This is the way Google transformed. This is the way Amazon transformed. This is the way Yahoo transformed. Okay, Yahoo is dead now, maybe a bad example. But you're not going to find the book that says Amazon transformed or Google transformed, because why? They could not transform. So if they can transform, why are consultants telling us that we need to transform like Google? They need to understand our context first. So understand your context before you go into a journey of AI and technology adoption. A model that I published recently, which is the Artificial Intelligence Service-Driven Organization. It looks at 4 pillars. As a service organization, you need to understand which service is fit for purpose. Don't throw AI at everything and hope that it's going to solve the problem. AI is not a silver bullet. You don't need AI to calculate 1 plus 1. But you do need AI for certain aspects of the business. So once again, strategy first. The other thing is, there's a debate in the industry. Is it use case? Is it capability? Is it platform? Which one do you pick? How are you going to adopt AI? Doesn't matter. Think about your context. What is it that you're trying to achieve? I'm a fan of platform because 1, it gives you broader scale. Also, it gives you capabilities that you may not necessarily think you needed at a point in time. If you go the use case approach, you're generally trying to solve for a niche item. So then you look for a niche tool. Nothing wrong with it, but it all depends on the context. Culture. As we know, culture eats strategy for breakfast, as all the MBAs tell us. But it's true. Culture is not just about how we live and breathe. Culture is about what we believe in as well. So if you believe that AI is for you and AI can create value, then you're halfway there. But if your mindset is not in the belief of AI, and it happens in many organizations, even in the organization that I'm in today, 50% of the camp says AI is not for us. 50% of the camp says AI is for us. So who do you believe? Who do you work for? Who do you want to go to? Right? Submit a business case? No, it's not. Submit a business case, great, let's move. But then you get all the governance and associated values. So culture is very important when it comes to AI job. The other thing is skills. As we saw in the previous slide, the skills landscape is changing. Base of knowledge is changing. So if the base of knowledge is changing, it means what you learned yesterday not relevant today. You need to learn something new. There's this concept of unlearn and relearn. It's not about relearning. It's about learning something completely new. When we did digital switching and mechanical switching was relevant in the 1990s. Digital switching became relevant in the 2000s. what we learned in mechanical switching is not relevant for 2000. So we have to throw away that knowledge. And we have to learn something completely different and new. Made us anxious, yes. But if we're not open to it, we'll be left behind. So this is the artificial intelligence service organization model in terms of assisting you, in terms of helping you, how you're going to adopt AI. There's a lot more details behind it, but we can chat later in the break. Value creation. Everybody's looking for value. And they're like, where can I find value? Because the CFOs, your businesses, if you do not have a business case, they're not going to give you the money to adopt. Unfortunately, we live in a corporate world where money makes the world go around. There are many avenues where, in a service-driven organization, you can look for value. You just need to open up your mind to it. The other thing is, don't be blocked. You don't want to be blocked. I don't know if you had, I think a couple of weeks back, people were creating pornographic and explicit images using Grok, and was exposing it on the entire web. Responsible adoption of AI is key. Eventually, Elon Musk agreed that he needs to put some guardrails on Grok, so they put some guardrails, so you can't do it anymore. Just to let you know, so don't try it. Right? So, don't be blocked when it comes to adoption of AI. You need to be able to follow a specific framework. And then this framework around, yes, privacy, transparency, fairness, human dignity, etc., etc. Right? But there's one element that's not in there. What you feed in AI is what you get. Your data. If I told AI today that I am selling this product to 18 to 35-year-olds, and that's the only data I give it, when a 45-year-old comes and he phones the call center, and the first question they ask is, what's your date of birth? And he gives his date of birth and then calculates, okay, you're 45. So sorry, I can't help you. Is that the AI's problem? Or is it our problem? We gave you data. So things like bias, hallucinations, yes, it's an element of AI, but it's also an element of what you feed the engine. Regulation. Right? Financial services. So from a South Africa perspective, what's relevant is that we are looking at the EU AI Act from a South African legislation perspective. In 2027, thereabouts, I think March, where there'll be a draft proposal that will go out to the industry that will say, this is the legislation from a South African governance perspective. Please make sure that you review it and you can provide inputs to it. Because by 2028, guess what? That's going to be published. So every single organization, particularly in the financial services sector, is going to be housed to this governance that's going to come out. There's a lot of other ones there, but the one that's truly relevant is the EU AI Act, which was published, I think, August 2024. Based on that, that's how the South African AI Act is going to come about. So there'll be very similar concepts there. So all organizations that are currently adopting AI are actually using the EU AI Act as a benchmark in terms of how they adopt. Something that I'd like to share with you is sometimes we get caught up in the jargon, sometimes we get caught up in, is it a technical skill, is it a business skill, is it a leadership skill, what sort of skill do I need to actually adopt technology? Well, you need a little bit of both, or all. But you don't need to be a specialist. You don't need to be an expert. A book that I recently read is quite nice by Saul Rashidi. It's basically a practical guide based on real-life experiences of adopting technology. So if you ever want to kind of read up in terms of what are the best practices from a global perspective in terms of adopting technology, I would suggest going and buy this book. It's a very nice book. It's not my book, but it's a very nice book. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Imtiaz. Thank you for listening to me today.